Here's the recipe book I'm going to be doing a tutorial on today. I made this using the Cinch and just some extra scrap paper that I had left over. So this is a tutorial for how to make this, and I'll just go ahead and flip through it real quick. This is just some stamps I had, and this is a little flower embellishment, which there's a tutorial on my blog about how to do. And then I just tied ribbons over the binding. So when you open it up, you have a back cover where you can put pictures, and then it starts getting into your recipe pages. And I stamped all the pages with different little stamps for summer. They have little flowers and butterflies and leaves and stuff. So there's, I think, 20 pages in here, front and back, that you can write on for all your different recipes that you like. And then when you're ready to use it, you just set it in your kitchen and open it up and follow your recipe. So keep watching for the tutorial and what you'll need to make this book. Okay guys, here are the supplies for your recipe book. You're going to want some way to bind your book, so I am using the Cinch version 2. If you don't have a Cinch, you can check the shopping page on my blog, and you can buy one through the link there for about $80. And they also have the wire, and I'm using the 3/4 inch black wire for my book because I think the black just goes with everything. Then you're going to want some paper, and I'm using the cotton bloom stack, and it's very summery, very pretty, so you're going to want some different paper. You can use the little scraps in the book just to add in as extra little pages. You're going to want some ribbon to tie, so I have pink and green, and they're just ribbon I picked up at Walmart and Michael's for $1. So you're going to want a tape runner, definitely, to tape all your pages and make sure everything goes together. You're going to want a corner rounder to do the edges of your corners. Then you want some embellishments, and I'm going to be using these little paper clips. They are by, I think, the Paper Studio. I got them at Michael's for her 50% off, and they're just little paper clips, and they go right on the page, and you can hold something down. Like if you want to add an extra recipe in the book, you just put the paper clip on and you have an extra recipe. So I definitely love these. Then you're going to want some rhinestones to do the flowers with, if you want flowers on your cover like mine. Then you're going to want a paper trimmer to cut down all your paper, and you're also going to want the pages for your coupon book. Not coupon book, your recipe book, sorry. And so what I'm using is just 12 by 12 sheets that I have that kind of go with my colors. And all you're going to do to these 12 by 12 sheets is cut them down to 8.5 by 11. Cutting them down allows you to stick them in your printer, print lines on both sides, and then just insert them in your book. So it saves on having to buy lined paper to go in your book. So I will be using sheets of 12 by 12 and cutting them down. So once you have all your supplies, let's get started on the book. So, the first thing we want to do for our recipe book is to cut 4 sheets of paper. Unless you're using double-sided paper, then you only are going to need 2. But for me, I'm going to cut 4, and you want to cut them at 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So, you'll end up having a sheet that looks like this, and it's just a little over 4 by 6, so 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to take your outside and your inside, that's what these are of the cover, and you're just going to tape them together all the way around. So put tape on them, so you're going to have one sheet that has 2 sides on it. So this is going to be your base and your cover for the book. Once you've done that, you want to go ahead and round your corners on both. So tape them together and round your corners, and then we will add the outside of the cover. Now that you have your 2 covers done, they should have their corners rounded, and they should be double-sided so that you won't see any white on the front or back. What you want to go ahead and do is on my cover, I want another sheet of pattern paper mounted on that. So I'm going to cut one at 4 by 6 and round the corners and mount that on the front cover, just so I have a little bit of extra color. And then I'm going to add the recipe tag and some flowers later on. So if you like your paper and you don't want to cover it, you can skip this step, but I'm going to go ahead and cut down an extra sheet to go on the front at 4 by 6 inches and then mount that. Okay, so here I have my front and back cover. This is going to be the front, and then this will be the back cover. So now once you have those done, you're just want to lay those to the side, and the next thing we want to do is cut down our 12 by 12 paper. So if you haven't already done this, you're going to cut down these sheets to 8.5 by 11 so they're going to fit in your printer. So just go ahead and stick these in your cutter, cut them down to 8.5 by 11, and then get ready to print the paper. Once you have your paper in your printer, you want to go to Microsoft Word and type out just a bunch of lines all down the page. Then you're going to want to print however many pages you have in your printer. Mine are just black lines, and I'm printing 11 pages of the paper front and back. So I'm going to print 11 copies. Once you have all your lined paper printed front and back, you want to go ahead and cut down each sheet to be 4 by 6 cards. So each sheet will make it 2. So you can cut this down to 4 by 6 at the top and one 4 by 6 at the bottom. Then you're going to want to go ahead and do all your pages like that. And once you have all your little note cards, you're going to want to go ahead and ink around the edges of each one. You don't have to do it, but I like it because it looks a little distressed, and I think it makes it really cute. So go ahead and cut your 4 by 6 cards and ink the edges. A trick for cutting your papers is that when you cut these down to 4 by 6 cards, go ahead and cut at the top to make it 4 by 6, so that you have a little space at the top to write the title of whatever you're making or to stamp or whatever. So this is a 4 by 6 card, and see how you have the space at the top. Then what you want to do is go ahead and after you've cut your first one, flip around what's left of that page like this. This is what it should be. You're going to flip it around so that this is again at the top and cut another 4 by 6 so that you have the space at the top on all your sheets. That way you can write your title on all the sheets. Once you have all your cards cut down to 4 by 6 and inked, you want to go ahead and punch all your corners. I'm going to round all my corners so that they match the cover of my book. Once you have that done, we're going to go ahead and bind it using the cinch. Once you have your cards cut down to 4 by 6, you want to take one of them and you want to load it into your cinch and pull knob number 8 because it's 4 inches. Then you simply want to make sure it's against the corner, press down, pull out, and you have your holes. You can do this to all of your note cards. Once you have all your cards with holes punched in them, you want to go ahead and cut your wire to 7 prongs long and thread them through the holes so that now you have that on there. Don't put your cover on yet. Once you have the holes punched in your covers, go ahead and thread your front cover through first and then thread your back cover through, but you want to thread it backwards. So if this is your outside, then put this towards your front cover. That's the side you want to see. Then, once you have that done, you want to go ahead and take this out and put it in the back and go ahead and line this up in the back and then just press it down to close your. Now that it's cinched, you can go ahead and flip your back cover around, and when you do that, it covers up your seam. So you can't see your seam at all. And when you open up inside your back cover, that's where it's hidden. So this is your book. So now what we're going to do is just tie ribbons through each of the holes. So you want to cut little pieces of ribbon about I'd say 4 inches long, and then tie them through. You can cut them down, and then we're going to tie them on each of the little rings. Once you have all your ribbons tied on the edge, you want to go ahead and get a lighter or a match and take it and just gently melt the edges of the ribbon so that they don't come frayed. So what you want to do is simply take your lighter and just real carefully melt it. Now you can see the edge of that is just slightly brown. That will not fray, so your book won't ever look like it's frayed and getting old. Now if you like that look, you don't want to burn them, but I don't like them to get frayed and unravel all the way and have to retie new ones because I might not have the same ribbon. So just go ahead and burn all the edges of your book, I mean not your book, of your ribbons on your book, and then your book will be almost. And here's the finished book, crafters. I simply burned the edges of my ribbons just a little so they're not going to fray. I made a flower using the tutorial on my blog, scrappingwithkatie.blogspot.com. That's all you do to make that flower. Follow the tutorial. And I stamped out recipes with these Gracie Moon lowercase wood stamps by the Paper Studio. And that's my finished book. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial.